So the Nigerian National Assembly organized the public hearing for regions across Nigeria over debates on certain sections of the constitutions they want to amend. Here's one of the clips from many of the positions that was made known at the public hearing in Nasarawa State recently.
Esther Ochole Ogaero, the Royal Queen of Igede Land, and I'm standing here with my whole people, the youth leaders, the speaker, representing the going back home to Ogoja, and our president of Ominyigede, that is a leader worldwide of Igede people. And I stand here to support what we have represented here today, which we have submitted our submission to the National Assembly already. We are only here to lay our voice to the fact that in this present home where we are is not a home. Because if you are in a home, you will be treated like the children of the home. And Igede people have been marginalized, neglected, and rejected for long. And we say enough is enough, and we wish to go back home to our former abode, Ogoja province.
The President General of the Igede Development Association, the apex socio-cultural organization of Igede Nation, the third largest group in Benue State. We are here today to let Nigeria know that due to marginalization in Benue State, we would want to opt out of any state creation in Benue State and would want to move for the creation of Ogoja State. We have our kit and kings in Ogoja. We were formerly in Ogoja province. It is now time to go back to meet our kit and kings. Thank you very much.
We represent the voice and mandate of our people, the traditionalists, the political leadership, and all the national political land that we need to go back to our source. We want to go back home. Where is our home? Our home is the old Ogoja province that are intended for Ogoja state creation. And we are asking them why. Yes, when the Benue State is 97 now, we have never been had an opportunity to become a governor, the senator, even to their as a minister. And our people, two of our people, are there in the of our prime government. We felt that all states of Nigeria are facing. In Benue State, we want to use the people that our Nigerian president said that the Benue State to take all our home where we can have our freedom and liberty to fulfill our destiny as people. On account of that, we are saying that you will allow us by your book of your creed as a lawmaker to unveil our voice. We have submitted 10 copies of our paper.
Right Comrade Cletus Adole Aruta, President General of Ominyigede Youth Wing Development Association Worldwide. And what is happening here today is that this is the voice of Igede people. The Omi you hear is the voice. So this is the voice of the whole Igede people, and we represent that voice today here. And you can hear what our representative and my President General have said here before, and I want to go in line with them. In Benue State, we have been there for decades. For how many decades? And we have been marginalized in all space. And if we go back to Ogoja State, there is so many advantages we will have, like in terms of representing in government there, traditional rulers and every other thing. So I believe that if we can join Ogoja State, it will be better for us than where we are now. We cannot go back to Egypt again. Thank you.
That's it. I want us to have this conversation because it will help us to not only unpack a lot of things because of the younger generation that is growing up today, but it will also help us have a basis for what we are about to do and understand who we truly are as a people. Benue South is the marginalized part of Benue State, no doubt. I want to understand something here. They were in that public hearing where the Benue South people projected state creation that also would involve that part of the state. But they say they don't want state creation, that they want to be merged with Cross River State. And they have suffered marginalization. But the question I want to ask first is, who is marginalizing the Igede people? Respectfully, this is not an attack on the Igede people. This is not an attack on any of the speakers. These are, particularly that woman is somebody I know and I respect a great deal. But I want us to have a bearing in this argument. Igedes are being marginalized, but the question is, by who? Is the Idomama not being marginalized? Is Igede not part of the Idomoid language? There's been argument about Igede as a whole. Is the entire Igede as a tribe coming from somewhere different? Are there Igedes that also migrated from some part of Idoma land as well? We need to have some of these things properly sorted out. Secondly, we talk about marginalization. It would be wrong and unjust for Igedes to accuse the Benue South people of marginalizing them. I continue to say this every time I speak. It is not because I'm trying to defend the other part of Idoma land. Igedes have become Ochidoma through rotation. Igedes have produced deputy governor, which is the highest political position to that zone. What else is the Igede man talking about? The only position I know the Igedes are yet to occupy in Benue South would be the Senate. And Senate that we know is still zoning. But we will remember that somebody sat there for 20 years from one zone. They also got support from the Igede people who joined other local governments to give him votes. And that person sat there for 20 years. Other zones will also have to take a go before it gets to Igede people. The last time I checked, zoning is what works for the people of Benue South, and they've been religious with their zoning. And it's one of the reasons why some of us continue to agitate that the likes of Abamoro step aside, because that zone has completed its term. They are also part of Benue South that has never tasted that same deputy governorship, that has never tasted Senate or any of the bigger, including commissionership. Ufia is one of the ethnic languages, I don't want to use minority, but the way they call themselves, one of the minority groups in Benue South. It took them 46 years before they produced their first commissioner. Are Igedes not becoming commissioners every administration? Is anybody marginalizing them in that regard? Are Igedes not getting whatever position that comes in? Because the idea of what we do together is to zone in. We sit down and we appropriate what area has not had position. The Apa Gatus, they've never produced deputy governor. They are not even fighting anybody. They are not worried about it. But we know that it ordinarily needs to go towards their direction. But if that is not working for them, if they are not getting it, the next space and debate about senatorial seat should be happening between the Igedes, Apas, and the Agatus. Why are they not talking? Why are they not working together? It's the same Igedes that are working against this same zone, producing the senatorial candidate. Is that marginalization? Why are they not talking about the need to sit on the table to talk about zoning? I'm a believer in zoning. I'm a believer in rotational leadership. That way, every zone has a representation and also leads. I'm not against anybody wanting to join Ogoja, but before you go to Ogoja, how well are the Igedes in Ogoja doing? Are they also enjoying? Is it milk and honey for them? We need to be careful. We need to also speak the truth when we're dealing with ourselves and issues. I'm not against an Igede man becoming anything, including the governor of Benue State, because a zone is a zone. And I see everyone as Idomas. If you like it or deny it, we're all Idomoid language. And that is who we are. Trying to cut or chart a new identity or try to sabotage others because you feel you are being marginalized, let's tell ourselves the truth. How have you been marginalized? The entire zone is being marginalized by those who are rotating governorship between Zone A and Zone B. And the leadership class of these two zones are the architects of our problems and our divisions. And this is what is playing out. The Igedes can't complain about marginalization, at least not at this point. They have infrastructural deficit, which I accept. And it's a sad reality that that part of our state, just like other parts that also requires attention in Zone C, are not given the adequate attention they deserve. Honestly, the Igedes have no motorable roads to their communities. There are a lot of opportunities and potentials there, and I believe they truly deserve the dividends of democracy. But talking about marginalization, it's a holistic marginalization. The Idomas are divided into zones, and there are over 5 other minority tribes in that same zone that have not had opportunities. Ufia, as I talked about, produced their first commissioner after 46 years. They are the Utonkons. They did not kill anybody. They did not shout to the high heavens. But there was never any administration that the Igedes do not produce any commissioner. What about the Ikomilokos? These are another minority that reside right inside the Ufias, which are the Utonkons. What have they ever attained in the politics of Benue State? What of the Akweyas? Akweyas got their first commissioner, I guess, not long ago. After 46 years or thereabouts, and they have not fought anyone. They have always been quiet about it. What about the Izis? What about the other ethnic groups that we will call minority? We have many of these complicated minority tribes that are interwoven that even those in Zone A and Zone B don't even know about. Each time anyone wants to talk about the need to rotate governorship, they begin to talk about the Igedes. because they don't understand the complexity in Benue South. Benue South has more minority groups that are so complicated and intertwined than the Tiv people. Yet, we don't understand how these things work. One man sat in the Senate for 20 years. It's another zone that is currently representing. And after that, other zones like the Igedes and the Apagatus should negotiate. And the Apagatus have the higher hand because they've never been deputy governor. They've never had any opportunity beyond the commissioners and all that. And it would be fair, right, to look towards that direction. And we are talking about marginalization. They say fair is fair. And to be fair means those who are telling us that the Igedes deserve better, we have no problem, call the Igedes and make them governor of Benue State. I don't think any other part of Benue South we have a problem with that. We want equal representation, and we want a representation where everybody has a sense of belonging. I have no problem for people agitating for better lives for their people. It is the right of every citizen to live better, to have infrastructure, and to live in a much more dignified manner. The Igedes are actually not living in a dignified manner. They have the worst set of roads in Benue South. One of the worst set of roads you can ever imagine. Both coming from the Tiv area and the Idoma area. Those road networks are horrible. And they actually lack infrastructure. And that's not the thing anyone needs to lie about. But talking about marginalization, and they are not interested in state creation because their marginalization is coming from their Idoma brothers, it is not true. And I challenge anybody to a debate when it comes to this any day. And if our structure and way of interacting with ourselves have not worked, let's go back and redraw it. In Benue South, they always sit down to negotiate. And anybody who wakes up today to argue that that is not how we have always done things, I want to see what other defense they have. Igedes have been Ochidoma. Igedes have been deputy governor. Igedes have been commissioners back to back. The Senate is just another zone that is currently occupying it. And you have up to 4 zones to take this singular position. The 2 zones left, what are they expected to do? Negotiate. But what do you see? They are working for another zone to continue staying on the same position. And they are the same ones that are crying about marginalization. The enmity and the gulf between the Igedes and their brothers whom they live with in Zone C continues to open up. But I begin to wonder, why do the Igedes and their brothers allow themselves to get divided to the point where they become sworn enemies? They have traded before together. They were in big rice business together. They were multimillionaires and made millions from rice business, cassava, gari business, timber, firewood, and transport business. They made the best and the greatest friendship and alliances together. Then politics becomes a thing that divides them. If the economy could not divide them, the biggest that made them tick, and politics becomes the ingredient that tears them apart. Then the entire Zone C and the Idoma nations where Igede belong need to sit down and have a dialogue. Politics is dividing us. The major problem here is politics. The Idoma man and the Igede man had no problem. They had their banter back in the day, and in the quest for search for identity or asserting oneself does not make you the enemy of your brother you have lived perpetually for God knows how long with. It shouldn't be so. It means something is wrong. And if the political class continue to divide us, a question I want every one of us to ask ourselves is, how have our lot changed? How have our communities improved? All the struggles and the fight we are involved in, asking to go back to Ogoja, will that change the situation on ground? All we need to be asking for is development for our people, is equal representation for our people. I believe in rotational leadership, which is the easiest thing to do for now, and for everyone to have equal representation. That is where I belong. Talking about the need not to create any state in Benue South, but to create Ogoja State, is like going somewhere else to claim another father. It does not make any sense. If Ogoja is created and Ogoja pushes you away, do you think you're going to be welcomed in Ogoja? I don't see that happening. It will not happen. Even those people in Cross River, the Yala part of Cross River, they want to come back to Benue South. They continue to have meetings with the Idoma people and interact with them. And we are talking about going elsewhere. This is not what we want. We need a Benue State that is powerful, a Benue State that is one indivisible, devoid of ethnic tension, devoid of any tribe and ethnicity issues, where prosperity and unity becomes the order of the day. That's the only way we can all grow. All this agitation about moving out, marginalization, our enemies, we know them. They are the political class. They put us where we are. They've robbed our communities of development. They've robbed us of opportunities. And only thing they've succeeded in doing is to divide us. I would encourage that queen who should promote unity, because she or her spouse are under the Idoma Traditional Council. And that's one of the reasons why I said the kingdom is even revolting against itself. Because currently the Idomas have no king. If the Idomas have a king, some of these things would have been nipped in the bud. A kingdom does not revolt against itself. And if anybody should be making that statement, you shouldn't be the wife of the king that submits to the Idoma Area Traditional Council. That's a big perjury, because she expressed the mind of the king who submits to the Idoma Area Traditional Council. Talking about moving out of Benue State entirely. I think we need to find a way of ensuring we have lasting and sustainable peace. The only problem we have are the political class that are dividing us, depriving our communities of development, and depriving everyone of equal representation. This is what I expected everyone to have gone with, not about state creation, because Tinubu shouldn't be creating more states. If I was the president, I would create no state. I would ensure the states that are existing are even viable first, so that they don't continue to draw money from the center and put pressure on the federal government. While I believe it was an opportunity for all these zones within Benue State to have articulated their concerns for a rotational leadership, a leadership that ensures development reaches the people, because that's the focus at the end of every agitation. That was not what we achieved pretty much. We only went there to show them how we're divided as a state, as a zone, and those who are dividing us will be having a field day. It will continue if we don't change. But I know there was a time when we were all one and the same, because the economy was booming and we would all be together. We had so many things we shared in common. And if those things didn't tear us apart, and politics is tearing us apart, then it's a pity. It's a sorry state, and it will be, unfortunately, the end of us all. And if Zone A and Zone B continues to tear Zone C apart, it's a foolish thing to do, because at the end of the day, there won't be any zone in Benue State. And that's the way the world works. If we're united, you will have a prosperous Benue. But if we tear down one zone because we want to be on top, eventually we will all crash like a pack of cats. I think we need to build and unite the entire state at this point. Tearing us and dividing ourselves along ethnic lines and all that, it's not a thing to do. We have become one. God, who brought us together, has a reason and a purpose. It's just that we haven't allowed the sense of reason to prevail. We have continuously allowed politicians who have no genuine plans for our people to continue to rule and tear us apart. I'd love to read your thoughts on this matter, and I'll see you in the next video.